How the 1% Stole Minimalism, Then Threw It Away. Video by Matt Davella. Now, I won't lie, if I could recall, I've also watched a documentary, a Netflix documentary. Some of y'all probably might have seen it as well, called Minimalism. And it actually did quite a good job in describing or, being insightful as to the incentive of why someone would adopt a minimalist lifestyle. And I'm all for it with the understanding of how sometimes or most of the times less is more. Or you don't need, a lot of things to feel fulfilled. But I'm quite sure this video is gonna do a good job in describing and going over all of that. And without further ado, let's get into it.
Minimalism, a movement based on intentional living, about removing the excess, focusing on what matters, and finding purpose through living simply. Or a sleek, curated way to flaunt your wealth and social status without seeming like you're trying too hard. A little over a decade ago, minimalism blew up. It showed up in TED Talks, magazines, brilliant documentaries, and of course, YouTube videos by unconventionally handsome creators. It went from a niche philosophy to...
Don't get me wrong, you can be minimalist, but having one fork, knife, and spoon in your household has to be devious. Like, what? I mean, way to think about or cater to having guests or when you have family over. Like, yeah, some people just take it to the extreme.
A mainstream conversation. For many, minimalism was a practical response to overwhelm, a way to reclaim control, reduce distraction, and build a more meaningful life. But for others, minimalism became just another way to flex, a soft-spoken, logo-free, cashmere-wrapped way of saying, I'm better than you. This is the story of how the 1% took minimalism, made it expensive, aspirational, and exclusive, and then, when they were done with it, threw it away.
I also hope people understand that there is a huge difference when it comes to minimalism in the rich and top 1% aspect as compared to minimalism for the middle or lower class. Like, there is a difference. I think the best way I could define it or split the two is for the 1% and the upper class. Their minimalism, I feel, is mostly driven by aesthetic and, yeah, sure, practicality or simplicity, but mainly for aesthetic compared to the middle and lower class, which is mostly or like strictly for financial reasons. And yeah, for practicality and simplicity as well, but it's like mainly financially driven. Like, they do not move the same, dude.
To really understand how we got here, you have to look at where we came from. In the decades leading up to the minimalist movement, status was not subtle. It was really hard to miss. The early 2000s were the peak of loud luxury, a time when the economy was booming, reality TV dominated most channels, and celebrity gossip was everywhere. This was the MTV Cribs era, where celebrity homes were designed
Where literally every home was either rented or the cars were rented. Hey, people trying to chase the image of looking rich back then was crazy.
not for comfort, but for shock value. Even though many of these homes weren't actually owned by the celebrities and just set up for filming.
Oh, that wasn't your house?
No, it's all lies.
These were the life goals at the time. Brands became status symbols. Louis Vuitton monograms were stretched.
We all believed it though. Like, we were all gullible. When watching like MTV Cribs or Pimp My Ride, I'll be honest, as young as I was, I thought all of that was real.
Across handbags like billboards. Gucci belts doubled as a social currency. Chanel suits weren't just clothes. They were statements about your bank account and your place on the social ladder. For years, advertisers, media, and culture had sold us the idea that more stuff was the path to happiness. And it had never been easier to get it. 2-day shipping became the norm, fast fashion was on constant rotation, and Amazon offered millions of products at our fingertips.
Now, come to think about it, that's why they say marketing is king. Like, if you can get marketing down, and with the evolution of technology nowadays, like, who would have thought? You guys already know how much you were fiending for that Lil Wayne inspired Supra from back in the days. And then for all my Africans, once you heard that you can ship those things in from the States, what? Easy lick, dude. Oh, it was an easy lick for these industries. They had us by the balls, dude. Yo.
Then the 2008 financial crisis hit, and for many of us, it forced a hard reset. I graduated in 2010, and I remember how uncertain everything felt. So many of us were having a hard time finding jobs and didn't know if things would improve anytime soon. And so a lot of us started to question what we wanted success to look like outside of the status quo. That's when minimalism reemerged, a quiet rebellion against excess, a philosophy that said less is more.
No matter how
I feel like in that time period, that's when you'd see people for their true colors, and that would expose people for who they truly were outside of money and materialistic things. Having to shift and change your lifestyle and adapt, there's nothing more humbling and exposing than having to change or adapt your whole lifestyle or have that whole complete shift. Because now the attention is taken away, or it's no longer focused on you splurging or having all these materialistic things, or like having the latest shoes, pulling up dripped out to school and all of that. Now it's about who are you apart from that? Like, how organized are you? How disciplined are you? How do you carry yourself? Can you still hold that swag and aura with a $5 or 10 Rand shirt that you bought from Pep, compared to someone who is in a fully iced out diamond Louis Vuitton shirt? Because at the end of the day, money will not unlame you. That's the truth and the beauty of it. Don't get me wrong.
how much stuff we buy and how many different fads that we try, we don't become a more whole person. We keep looking. This hunger never gets fulfilled. What I found with minimalism is it's a way of saying, let's stop the madness.
What started as a fringe idea on some early blogs quickly gained.
I feel like that's true, because coming to think about it, a lot of people do get trapped in the whole cycle of chasing, the trends and the next latest thing that's gonna come out. Prime example, iPhone users. Oh my gosh, they always flaunt on how, and I'm not disagreeing with them, the phone is better and better performance, better quality, and etc etc. However, you will still get those people at the end of the year, was it November or September, when the new iPhone drops, and they will still go ahead and change to get the new iPhone. Like, at that point, really ask yourself, is it for the quality and purpose of the product, or are you just chasing a trend and you want the latest thing?
Traction. There were best-selling books, viral YouTube videos, and decluttering challenges that swept across social media. But then something unexpected happened. The wealthiest people in society, the same ones who once flaunted their status through excess, began embracing minimalism too. Only for them, it looked a little different.
Hey, guys, let's also not pretend like these rich and top 1% people are not capitalizing off of your guys' addiction on spending. Like, I don't mean to get deep and all of that, but do you want to be a pawn or do you want to be a player in your life? Like, do not get stuck in these people's traps by any means.
Everything in my house is really minimal. I find that there's so much chaos out in the world that when I come home, I want...
Alright, Kim. Oh, yes. I feel like my home is so nice and simple and minimalist. My $60-70 million mansion with the same monotone feng shui and theme. Like, girl, who are you fooling?
want it to be just really quiet. I put out my 3 faves.
Kim's vibe is not minimalistic, it's aesthetic. And I won't lie, coming to look at it, a lot of Kanye rubbed off on her, in a good way, don't get me wrong, because you can just tell her style is
I wanted my cars to kind of
inspired
blend in.
by-
My house is gray and I want
is inspired by Ye. That's why I say you gotta differentiate between style, aesthetic, and being minimalist. For the 1% like her, come on, dude.
Wanted them to kind of match the house.
Now, I know what you're thinking, Matt, really? Are you really going to gatekeep minimalism? Now, who am I to say that Kim Kardashian's $60 million, 7,500 square foot home isn't her own unique way of expressing minimalism, just at a much higher level of wealth than the rest of us? Sure, she doesn't own a tiny house, but does that really make her any less of a minimalist?
I don't have a hoarding problem. You're just a minimalist.
Yeah.
That time she has probably more designer bags in her closet or designer clothes than anyone could ever imagine. Like,
And you don't have anything.
Look, I think calling Kim Kardashian a minimalist is like calling the Liver King a vegan. The only thing minimalist about her house is the aesthetic. If you strip away the neutral tones and the empty spaces, what you're left with isn't simplicity. It's aspirational luxury repackaged for a new era. Take her sitting room, which I guess is a room connected to her bedroom where she sits. It looks inconspicuous.
like, nah, that's where you can see that these people are moving different, dog. You cannot compare yourself with these people. They will have a room designed in their house just to sit. Just to sit.
Sofa
Right.
and a couple armchairs. But don't be mistaken.
Don't get me wrong, this does look quite nice. I won't lie. Like, the design of it, I won't lie. Maybe it does look a bit too white. What I would do is probably throw in a couple of red accents here and there. Ooh. Or imagine just like what's this album cover? My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy album cover just posted right up here with a couple of red accents here and there. Probably also get like a red carpet, couple of red books. Like, just, get a bit more creative, make it a bit more cozy. This room looks cold, and I'd feel like I'm being put through an intervention at a mental institute.
This isn't IKEA furniture. These Ors Polaire couches conceived by French designers. Don't be mistaken. This isn't IKEA furniture. These Ors Polaire couches conceived by French designer Jean Royer in the late 1940s sell at auction for over $500,000 each. And that's on the low end.
What?
This is so absurd that I feel like I need to repeat that number. This is a couch that costs over $500,000. What the fuck is happening?
Much?
Just
Verzeih, nigga, $500,000 for a couch. Per couch. She has like, how many were they? It was like 3. She got a 3 set. Hell no, dude. She could feed or rebuild a whole village with her sitting room. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, do not compare your minimalism with these people's minimalism. And let's be honest, she got it like that. I can't even like be mad at it. At a certain stage in your life, you will get to that level where, money is just an object. And one of the other things that I don't understand about other rich people, you'll have those billionaires or like trillionaires even that will just hoard money in a way. You'll find those people that drive one and the same car that they've always had since like the early 2000s or 1990, who knows when, lives in their 2-room, middle class looking house. Like, yo, hear me out, dude. If you have the money, don't hold back on splurging. At least buy like a couple of Land Rovers, or like a Land Rover or SUV, or at least, a Bugatti here and there if you want. But to hoard money is just stupid. Because here's the thing, the more you spend money, or when you spend money, that's the more you're putting the money back into the economy and it's being circulated. So it contributes to good economical stimulation. So now if you're gonna have billions of dollars and you're not gonna do anything with them, like, what are we doing, gang?
from the short home
That's the greed they talk about in the
tour I watched, where she only showed 3 of the many rooms in the house, I was able to spot 2 of these sofas and 2 armchairs. These aren't couches, they're status symbols. That's why other celebrities like Jennifer Aniston and Ellen DeGeneres also have them. While it might look similar, this isn't the minimalism that had us decluttering our closets and tossing our Little League trophies away. Because minimalism was never about creating the perfect empty room. It wasn't about beige couches or curated aesthetics. It was about rejecting the idea that your worth is tied to what you own or where you rank on the social ladder. Minimalism was a rebellion against consumerism. This is just another flavor of it. While it's a new trend to see the rich embrace minimalism, if that's what you want to call it, when it comes to fashion, it's been around for a really long time. As Paul Fussell wrote in Class, a guide through the American status system, as you move up the classes and the understatement principle begins to operate, the words gradually disappear, to be replaced in the middle and upper middle classes by mere emblems, like
Yeah, facts. I think the richer or wealthier you get, the less you want to be noticed like that. Or let's say the less you care about the attention at most. I mean, you'll still pop out here and there with a timepiece that's worth more than some people's houses. But notice how they'll be spending or splurging on certain things and certain designs more purposefully. It's that subtle, if you know, you know, when that person walks into the room and you can notice an AP on their wrist, as compared to someone with a bust down rollie that's just screaming for attention. Which, don't get me wrong, hey, there's nothing wrong with a bust down rollie. If you want to have it, go for it. But just know that there will be that differentiation between mature wealth versus, just rich and has money, which will spark up conversation.
the Lacoste alligator. Once ascending further, you've left all such trademarks behind. You may correctly infer that you are entering the purlieus of the upper class itself. Old money families like the Vanderbilts, Rockefellers, and Kennedys have always lived by this understatement principle. But now this kind of expression of subtle yet very expensive style has become much more popular, and they have a name for it.
Hey, that time, don't be trying to compare or think you can run into this section of luxury. Here you have Birkin, designing a small Inyana bag, which will probably hold, a couple of your breath mints, chewing gum, pepper spray, and occasional Jaeger shots and lip gloss here and there. Price tag, 100 bands. On the generous side, bro, you have bags going for $250,000, and most of them probably around like the 80Ks, but still, regardless, it is stupid money for what these people are charging.
Quiet luxury.
All for a simple looking bag, which, let's be honest, you can probably get at small streets or even take a lot for a generic bag. As a matter of fact, see, here are your Birkin inspired bags. Yeah, they are. Yeah. Can get the same looking one. Only for $700. $600. Free delivery if you got the coupon.
The term quiet luxury first gained traction during Gwyneth Paltrow's 2023 ski trial, as she walked into the courtroom day after day wearing very basic clothing, at least basic to the untrained eye. You see, she wasn't wearing Everlane or Uniqlo. She was wearing a $613 shirt from Plan C, $1,400 Prada boots, and $58,000 worth of jewelry from Foundry. To someone like me, and probably most people, it all looked pretty standard.
I think Gwyneth's outfits are actually helping her with the jury. They're all very everyday. She's not screaming celebrity through her
And they look so simple,
outfits, and that's because she's refraining from color. She's refraining from glamour.
I couldn't tell her boots from a $100 pair at Steve Madden.
But that's the thing, it's about style. If you know how to style it, you're good. You can give these clothes to someone and they can easily mess it up or start looking like a bum.
Just like I couldn't tell Kim Kardashian's millions of dollars worth of sofas apart from a $2,000 version at CB2. But if you know, you know. And that's the point. During the trial, fashion reporters started decoding her plain wardrobe, revealing that this was actually a masterclass in quiet luxury, status disguised as simplicity. Quiet luxury plays a fascinating psychological game. It signals power through restraint. It's a social filter. If you recognize it, you're in the club. If you don't, you're not.
She's brought a ludicrously capacious bag. What's even in there? Huh?
Hey bro, you better watch your mouth. That's a whole Burberry bag. That bag probably cost more than some people's I-20s.
Flat shoes for the subway? Her lunch pail?
Watch your
The
mouth,
louder you
bro.
flaunt your wealth, the more it suggests you're unsure of your status. The truly powerful don't need to announce it. They can afford to be quiet. That's what makes minimalism the perfect vehicle for this message. An empty room doesn't say, I couldn't afford more.
I won't lie, I do like these type of houses. I would definitely get one because it does look nice and simple. I would probably add a little bit more of a home cozy type of vibe though. Like you wouldn't want everything looking, all white and just so formal, as if you're stuck in a mental asylum. But I feel like that's where I'd go off of the scales in terms of, houses and real estate and stuff like that.
It says, I had every option, and I chose restraint. Yes, thank you. These couches are comfortable. They cost more than your house. That's where minimalism
Yeah, but I wouldn't get a couch worth more than some people's life savings or pension funds. Like, what are we doing?
when co-opted by the wealthy, stops being a philosophy and starts being performative. The irony is that through quiet luxury and minimalism, the elite pretend like they don't care, but their choices show their insecurities more than they realize. You don't spend $10,000 on a handbag unless you hope the people around you know exactly what you're holding. Whether you're in the upper echelon or not, most of us fall into the same trap, buying things to signal that we belong, to show that we're keeping up. We rarely admit it, but so many of our choices, the clothes we wear, the cars we drive, the neighborhoods we live in, are shaped by where we think we fit on the social ladder, even if you call yourself a minimalist. For the upper class, it might be a Birkin bag. A step below that might be Saint Laurent, and then Michael Kors.
As a matter of fact, have y'all also noticed Pharrell's Louis Vuitton drops? Like, they look so nice and simplistic, dude. I won't lie. I was also fiending over just how good, like, you appreciate the art form of it. If y'all haven't, y'all should check out the winter drops that he did last year and this year's summer drop. It's just something about, you could arguably say the whole setup of the fashion show as well did factor in how you look at it in terms of the style and artsy form of it. But everything still just looked so nice and simplistic. I think the simplicity aesthetic just has an easier effect on the mind, and it's just more relaxing. That's why we're drawn to designs like these.
Maybe a cheap replica from Walmart. It's fair to say that quality and price come into question whenever making a purchase, but I think we often place...
Hey, but if you search up the price tags or like how much those collections are worth, crazy amounts, bro. Shit that only Drake can buy.
Far more weight on what it says about us and how it's going to look to others. The trends across all classes are constantly moving, so it shouldn't come as a surprise that just like every other trend before it, the aesthetic of minimalism is starting to fade, and something new is already taking its place. By their nature, fads fade. And while elite minimalism or quiet luxury still has a firm grip on the elite class, the tides are already turning. We're starting to see the return of loud luxury again, bold logos, statement pieces, and unapologetic flexes. And the brands, they're happy to move the goalposts again, as long
I'm sorry, they can keep it, dude. They can keep all their weird designs. I will say though, the Louis Vuitton briefcases, fire. I swear, dude. If it's two types of bags that I'd try to get. It's the Louis Vuitton. It would be the Louis Vuitton briefcases and the Goyard bags. Yo, nah, the designers knew what they were doing there. Like, it looks as good as it would probably be priced. I won't lie, it would be probably overpriced. It's way overpriced, but given the access and if I have the money for it, hell yeah.
As long as it keeps people spending. Gucci, Balenciaga, and Versace are back in the spotlight, embraced by celebrities like Dua Lipa, Lil Nas X, and Rihanna, who are leaning hard into their maximalist branding. Opulence is in, subtlety is starting to feel forgettable. While the look might change, the underlying motivation stays the same. It's a system based almost entirely on comparison, on trying to keep up, on always needing more. This is the real danger behind these trends. Not the clothing, not the couches, but what they trigger in us. The endless urge to measure ourselves against others, to think we're behind because our lives don't look like someone else's. It's a trap, and it doesn't lead to happiness. It only leads to anxiety, distraction, and discontent. Minimalism is the off-ramp from that cycle. It's about stepping outside the algorithm, the status race, the constant comparison, and asking yourself what actually matters to you. Because when you mistake the aesthetic for the philosophy, you're not escaping consumerism. You're just playing the same game in a different outfit.
That was a W video, but I just want to go back to how, again, the whole concept of being minimalist comes down to the purpose of it. There's people who basically LARP being minimalist, where in reality they just like the aesthetic and style of it. Granted, yeah, for simplicity reasons and all of that. True minimalism is defined by, your financial constraints and just cutting down your means to a level of where you have things only for their purpose or convenience, rather instead of all the extra shit. Otherwise, that was a W video by Matt. Y'all should check out his channel, and I'm gonna link the original video in the description. That was a very insightful video. Otherwise, if you haven't, like, comment, and subscribe. Till next time.